The third rail is a bar and lounge in Goodneighbor. The bar is inside the pre-war metro station of Scollay Square. The name Third Rail refers to the third rail on many underground metro stations, which provides electricity to the train. These third rails are covered with a shield to prevent accidental electrocution. But the third rail is the reason jumping down into metro tracks is extremely dangerous. The entrance to the third rail is guarded by a triggerman named Ham.
Any friend of Mayor Hancock is a friend of the third rail. Charlie serves the drinks. I deal with the drunks.
To the right of Ham are the bathrooms, and inside one of the stalls, we find a copy of Live and Love, Advice from Married Men. Companions permanently gain +5 damage resistance and energy resistance. Heading down the escalator to the train tracks, we find the heart of the third rail, the pub itself. To the right of the stairs, we find the VIP section of the third rail. This is only occupied by MacCready. When you meet him for the first time, he is being accosted by two gunners, Winlock and Barnes. I covered this story in greater depth in MacCready's profile video, which you can watch here. The VIP section appears to have no other purpose than a stage to meet MacCready. Perhaps he has been given exclusive access to the VIP section because of the good deeds he has performed for Goodneighbor, including helping Daisy when Daisy gets in a tight spot. But the main part of the bar is the lounge. Here, Goodneighbor's drifters and scumbags wander around and drown their sorrows while listening to the performance of a stage singer named Magnolia.
I see you looking round the corner. Come on inside and pull up a chair.
She stands to the left of the bartender wearing a red dress and performing a number of musical hits. Incidentally, the voice of Magnolia is none other than Linda Carter, the original Wonder Woman. Carter wrote and performed all of the songs Magnolia sings herself. After you discover Magnolia in the third rail, Magnolia's songs will sometimes appear on Diamond City Radio. Now, Magnolia is actually a synth. You can only discover this by killing her, whereupon you discover her synth component. Since we have no mention of her in the Institute, I think it's likely that Magnolia is a synth that has been rescued by the railroad. Her face was altered with surgery, her memory was wiped at the memory den, and so Magnolia may not even know that she is a synth. When she finishes her song, she retires to the bar.
That's right, Goodneighbor. I'm the one you're looking for. We'll be right back after a short break.
Beautiful as always, Mags.
Thanks, Charlie. Can I get some water?
No need to even ask. I always set aside a stash of the good stuff just for you.
You are such a sweetheart, Charlie. Thank you.
We can learn more about this intriguing singer by talking to her.
Well, what's the matter, sweetheart? Don't tell me you didn't like the song.
I've never heard that song before. Who wrote it?
I did. Everything I sing is an original. Now, there's something special about you, isn't there? Don't tell me. Let me guess. Ah, that's it. You have that, I'm the smartest one here and I know it posture. There's something so irresistible about intelligence, don't you think?
Now, this actually changes depending upon your character's special attributes. My character had high intelligence, which is why Magnolia mentioned her intelligence. But she has something different to say depending upon your character's primary special statistic. We can pry her for details to try and learn more about her past.
So what brings a woman like you to my part of town?
Me? Playing a game. First idiot who grabs my ass gets his arm broken. 10 points if he's drunk.
That sounds like the beginning of a great song. I think you and I are gonna get along. So it's my turn to answer questions, right? What can I do for you?
What's your story? How'd you end up singing here?
Oh, I flew into town like any songbird does, on a heavy wind with a wounded wing. Well, this place has a stage, I needed to sing, and Whitechapel Charlie needed customers, so here we are.
Whitechapel Charlie's been here a long time, I take it.
Well, he never talks too much about his past. Neither do I, really. I guess that's why we get along. You should get to know him, though. Order a drink first. He always wants to talk business after someone's had a few.
Come on. Tell me the whole story. Who were you before all this?
You really want to know? It's all in the songs. Everything I am.
She doesn't really have a lot to say. It's almost as if she doesn't know about her past. She says that her story is in her songs. That's a bit of a cryptic thing to say. I wonder if we can figure it out. Well, she has 5 different songs, and I think that pieced together, they give us an idea of her story, especially once we understand that she is a synth. With that in mind, here's what I think happened. After Magnolia had her mind wiped, she was aimless. She didn't know what to do. She likely developed a chem addiction. In her song Good Neighbor, she says that she took a walk out to the fens where she met a man to talk about some chems. She didn't have the caps for them, so she did the man a favor. This implies that, short on money and addicted to chems, she likely sold herself for sex in order to afford her addiction. Afterwards, she felt so horrible that she had to clean the shame off of her, so she stripped naked and swam in Swan's Pond. She took a dive with the swans out in the commons with nothing on. The mutants stopped to savor all of her bad behavior. After working as a whore for chems, it likely being the only profession she knew, she moved to Diamond City, where she peddled her trade amongst the city's elite-paying customers. She flashed her style, she showed her rings, she did the boys a favor with all of her manual labor. She wants to meet you in the middle so you can show her what you've got. That's about as explicit as she can make it, I think. But this lifestyle of drug addiction and prostitution began to wear old. She slept with all of these men, but none of them were man enough for her. She even wrote a song about it, Man Enough. She says that she has everything a man needs. She has the lips, ruby and sweet. She's got the hips that can't be beat. She's got the eyes that are looking for love, but she just needs a man who's man enough. She's done with prostitution. She doesn't need another, quote, casual lover walking out the door in the morning light. She prefers a man who can stand on his own without looking for another lover every night. That is, going from prostitute to prostitute. It's likely that because of that, seeking a man she can call her own, no longer being a prostitute, she moved back to Good Neighbor. And in her song, I'm the One You're Looking For, we get more allusions that she may have faded memories of her life as a synth. She realizes that there's something strange in here. She likes it in Good Neighbor because she doesn't fit in anywhere else. She still wants to give men comfort, just not in the way she used to, which is why she now sings on the stage. She comforts people with her music. She says, if you're searching for something to bring you comfort, well, I'm the one you're looking for. Most interestingly, she says, have you got a history that needs erasing? An allusion to the memory den, perhaps, to what Dr. Amari does on the side for the railroad. And perhaps the song is a message to escaped synths. She says, is your motor running close to empty? Possibly a metaphor, or maybe it's literal. Do synths run on motors? And she says, or are you running from yourself? As an escaped synth, you know that you're a synth, and that makes you your own worst enemy. You could give away the secret at any time, which could lead the Institute right to you. Maybe you are running from yourself. And if any of those are the case, then as Magnolia says, you're in the right place. In her song, Baby, It's Just You, we get more allusions to this memory wipe. She says, like an earthquake starting to roll, I felt my world shake out of control. Like a cyclone, wild and extreme, I got my mind blown. Stalking your dreams. This may be a song she wrote talking about how she felt after she woke up from the memory wipe. You leave me breathless, weak in the knees, I'm feeling reckless, pardon me please. She woke up from having her memory erased, she was breathless, she was weak in the knees, confused, and this made her reckless, which is why she took up chems, which led to her eventual prostitution. She felt alone, she needed someone to rescue her. She says, help me, save me, take me, because you've got the power, you've got the cure. Like her song, Man Enough, perhaps she feels that the solution to all of her problems, the solution to her confusion, to her recklessness, is a man, is a significant other who can save her from herself. And in her final song, train. This, I think, encapsulates her personal world philosophy, using the nuclear bombs that began and ended the Great War as an allegory. Before the war, it was all a game, the fighting, the militaries, but then the bombs dropped and all of that changed. They heard the boom of the nuclear explosion, and in the gloom, they went underground. Possibly a reference to the Institute, which is underground, but I think it's more likely that she's referring to the third rail itself, which is underground, because there she stands, having a good time. She says, "No need to pay, the pleasure is mine." And here's where her personal world philosophy comes in. Set your mind at ease, you better relax, throw yourself a party wherever you're at, and dance your blues away. You can find your way back to civilization another day. So, who is she? To sum up, an escaped synth who had her mind wiped by Dr. Amari and the railroad in the memory den. But the confusion of the mind wipe made her reckless. She took up chems, got addicted, and resorted to prostitution as a lifestyle until she finally got fed up with it and moved to Good Neighbor to start singing for Whitechapel Charlie. This lifestyle still makes her feel good by bringing comfort to other people, and yet she's in search of a special someone who can heal her, end her pain, help her, and save her. Someone who is more of a man than the men she knew in her past life. You can try to be that man for her, or woman, actually, because regardless of your gender, you can flirt with her.
I was wondering if we could get to know each other better.
Oh, really? Go on.
You have to pass through 3 speech checks, each of which gets progressively harder.
You, me, an evening walk under the streetlights.
And then what?
Music.
I knew you were something special, all right. Let me get my coat.
But if you succeed, the screen goes black and you wake up in the Hotel Rexford.
I haven't been out on the town in too long. Thank you. I'm afraid my first love is always going to be the stage, though. I hope you understand. I just can't get too attached. I'll see you around Good Neighbor. When I'm up there singing, I'll be thinking of you.
Well, it sounds like you were not man or woman enough for her. Magnolia is still in search of her special someone. She saw you when you walked in the third rail. You were interesting, you were intriguing, you kind of had that spark, but ultimately, you weren't the right fit. And Magnolia is still in search for someone who's man enough for her. She says as much if you try to flirt with her again at a later date.
Any chance I could steal you away for an evening?
I don't think that would be a good idea.
But what about this Whitechapel Charlie? It's interesting to have a Mr. Handy robot with such a thick Cockney accent, wearing a derby and cleaning glasses behind the counter in a pub. Sleeping with Magnolia is good to do before talking to Whitechapel Charlie because you get the well-rested bonus just before doing a quest that Whitechapel gives you.
Oi, we got beer. And if you ain't buying beer, you ain't buying.
Who's the singer?
That is Magnolia, the flower of the third rail. Anything you want to know about her other than that is her business. Now, you gonna order?
The third rail? Is this your place?
What? Nah, Gov. Place is Hancock's. Old Charlie just keeps the floor clean and drinks dirty.
So Hancock's the owner?
That's right. Owner and mayor of this whole bloody town. Trust me, never get on his bad side. Oh, and stay clear of his bodyguard.
Hancock has a bodyguard?
Yeah. The redhead with the condescending stare. Trust me, Gov, something about her ain't right. Not that I'd ever admit saying that. I'm trying to sell drinks here. You in?
What's the word around town?
Well, they say there's a newcomer around here who doesn't understand that I'm a bartender, not a damn news pop. Now, are you gonna drink?
Sure. Let's take a look.
Nothing watered down.
Not the talkative type. Despite what he says, he does sell more than just beer. You can buy a wide range of alcohol from him. I'll take a whiskey. Now, if you buy something, he offers you a job.
Now that you're liquored up, got a proposition for you. I need a dirty girl to do some dirty, dirty work. Blood on the pavement, bodies in the ground, that kind of thing. Interested?
I might be.
I got a certain anonymous client who's paying top dollar for a clean-up job. 3 locations. Everyone inside. No witnesses. Only catch? It's all in town. The old warehouses, so I can't use my regulars. Too noticeable. That's where you come in. The job's 200 caps. Payment after it's done. And don't worry, I'll know when it is.
I don't do work, unless I know who's paying the bills.
All right, Gov. Not like it's a big secret who I represent. Mayor Hancock is fronting the caps. Internal political struggle. You know how it is. Look, it's nothing you need to be concerned about. Just clear out the warehouses and get paid. Simple.
Funnily enough, if you have Hancock with you as a companion, Hancock says he forgot about the job.
Oh, yeah, that would be me. I forgot about that one.
Well, looks like the man himself will be helping you. So, you want this job or what?
3 locations. That's a lot of time. A lot of bullets.
Listen here, you. I'm playing ring around the rosy with no hired gun. Now the client's offering 200 for the job, and 200 is what you'll get.
I'll get it done.
You better. Now go out there and bust some heads.
The quest takes you to 3 different warehouses in Good Neighbor. You may want to use a stealth boy if you plan to sneak through these encounters, especially if you have low levels of stealth, because the enemies often appear immediately in the room that you enter. All of these doors are locked. You may want to crouch and hide until the locals are out of sight before you pick the doors. Once inside, you find triggermen, who will likely immediately attack you unless you have successfully hidden. If you have, then we hear a little bit of information from the triggermen as to why Hancock wants them dead.
Hey, you find it yet? What's the holdup?
A lot of boxes, okay? Just hold on to your ass.
It's like all I'm good for is waiting around. Jesus.
At first, I thought it was strange that Hancock would want these triggermen dead. After all, Hancock uses triggermen for his own dirty purposes. At the end of the Big Dig, for example, when Fahrenheit confronts you, she confronts you with 2 triggermen. If Hancock uses triggermen, why would Hancock send you to kill triggermen? I think this conversation we overhear tells us that these triggermen may be stealing from Hancock. These warehouses might be storage rooms for supplies for Hancock or for the town of Good Neighbor, and these triggermans have betrayed him, snuck into the warehouses, and are actively stealing from the town. That's why Hancock hires you to clear out the triggermen and remind them that no one steals from Hancock. Another reason you may want to use a stealth boy at first is because there are a lot of holes in the floors, and the triggermen span multiple floors, which means that if you do get caught, the triggermen above you will shoot at you through the floors. This can either be annoying or you can use it to your benefit because, after all, you can always shoot up at the triggermen. This is a great little quest to do to find a battered fedora. A battered fedora is one of the few hats that you can imbue with ballistic weave, and these triggermen wear a lot of them. You can walk away with quite a stash of battered fedoras. If you loot everything, you can walk away with over 20 different submachine guns, battered fedoras, tuxedos, and other triggerman mobster gear. Also to note, everything in these warehouses is set to owned, which means that if you loot anything here, you will technically be stealing. There are no repercussions in the game because these triggermen are already hostile to you, so it's not like stealing will make them hostile. But bear this in mind before you start stealing, because you could lose affinity with some companions who disapprove of stealing. Alternatively, if you bring a companion with you like Kate, McCready, or Hancock that actually like stealing, then you can gain positive affinity with them. The next warehouse is just south of the third rail. This is the big white door near the alleyway that leads to Bobby No-Nose's house. The lighting inside these warehouses is excellent. If you ever want an experience with excellent lighting where you can see the particles floating in the air, this is a fun one to do. Each of these warehouses has great shadows and feels really immersive. Inside the warehouses, you often find mattresses and sleeping bags, which means that if you don't want to pay for a room at the Hotel Rexford, and if you don't have a settlement or a home of your own yet, this is a great place to retreat to rest early in the game or on survival. At the end of the second one, we find an end-of-dungeon chest behind a cinderblock wall with a Mr. Pebbles the Space Cat poster outside. The third one is right next door, on the other side of Bobby No-Nose's alleyway with a green door. There are a number of triggermen in a room on the opposite side of this wall. They can see you through the cracks and will charge you if they find you, or come down the stairs. Heading up the stairs, we find a few triggermen lounging around in this room, and we can finish off all the triggermen in this room if you can successfully lure them to the hole in the ceiling above.
Ready up. Hey, there you are. Whack!
Once done, you'll get a message saying that you've successfully cleared out all of the triggermen. You can loot the place and then loot the end of dungeon steamer trunk. This one has a really cool room with a whole bunch of mannequins standing up with sunlight bathing them through a window. The dust and light and shadows of the scene just look great. And if you hate mannequins, they're a whole lot of fun to blow up. When done, we can head back to Whitechapel Charlie for the reward.
I've heard some exterminator cleaned out the rats in the old warehouses. Wouldn't know anything about that, would you?
I might. Depends on what you have for me.
Here you are. Every single cup, as agreed.
Incidentally, the third rail in the third rail appears to still be active. Taking a look at the tracks beneath the floor next to Magnolia, we see sparks coming from the rails. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the full story of the third rail in Good Neighbor, Magnolia, and Whitechapel Charlie. This is another video in my series on Good Neighbor. We're going to turn this town upside down and learn absolutely everything about it. So if you don't want to miss my future videos on the topic, be sure to subscribe and click that notification bell button. I'm changing things up a little bit. I am now doing 6 videos a week instead of 7. I'm taking that Sunday off, spend with family, and to maintain my Fallout 4 installation and my computer, which means no more videos on Monday. But never fear, you still get videos Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and I have the schedule of the kind of videos that I'm going to publish on those days clearly listed on my YouTube channel art. And if you haven't checked out my Teespring t-shirt shop yet, you can find a link to the shop in the description below. I've got a new design in the shop, Liberty Prime's Democracy is Non-Negotiable, which was the top voted design by this community. And if you like what I do and you want to support me in a more personal way, consider becoming one of my patrons on Patreon. Patreon subscribers get access to a private channel on my Discord server, as well as a bunch of other cool Oxhorn perks. But more than anything, ladies and gentlemen, I'm so glad you're here watching this video with me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow morning bright and early as always with a brand new video.